Hey everybody, the Super Vader 400 here. This time I'm doing a retro anime review, and this time I'm looking at Fists of the North Star, which was released in 1984 and is based on the manga by Tetsuo Ohara and Borison. Like I said, Fists of the North Star was released in 1984, and it ran for, in the first series, which I'm reviewing right here, ran for 107 episodes. This show adapts all the way. This show starts from Kenchiro's first fight with his arch nemesis Shin, all the way up to the final battle with Kenchiro's older brother Ryle. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Fist of the North Star is a post-apocalyptic action martial arts manga about how the world was nearly destroyed by a massive nuclear war, and the world and everything died out with the exception of man. The world entered into a new age where the strong praise over the weak and only the strong must survive. Kenchiro, the inheritor of a violent art called Hakuto Senken, is pretty much this kung fu martial arts avatar who wanders the post-apocalyptic land looking for his lover Julia and protecting various villagers from various biker gangs and nemesis throughout the series. Throughout the series, Kenchiro meets several allies and nemesis. Some of these nemesis are rivals to his Hakuto Senken style. Like I said, this is an awesome show. One of the best story-filled action fight animes and mangas around, and one of my favorite animes and mangas and movies. Fist of the North Star, in my opinion, makes great anime, makes a great movie. I thought the live action was pretty good too, and makes awesome comic books. Awesome comic books. The animation is done, in my opinion, the animation is done really well. Looks how it's supposed to look in the 80s. And the artwork, I love the artwork. The artwork is phenomenal. The artwork makes me at times want to watch this show, even when I'm probably not in the mood to be watching it. It's just an epic show. Kenchiro, in my opinion, is one of the most awesome protagonists, and this show has some of the best bad guys I've ever seen. Some of my favorite moments from the Fist of the North Star first television series includes the very first arc, which features Kenchiro meeting Bat, a bandit, Lin, a mute after watching her parents being burned, and fighting Zed, who is based on Wes from Mad Max, the very first antagonist Kenchiro encounters. Then, of course, he encounters Hart. He encounters Hart, who is pretty much this universe's Blob from the X-Men. His body can absorb anything. He's fat and his body can absorb anything. He was an awesome protagonist, and he snaps every time he sees blood. Then Kenchiro, then the final battle with Shin. This series, in the manga, Kenchiro's fight with Shin happens very quickly. In the anime, for the purpose of build-up and filler, they inserted a lot of filler episodes where Kenchiro fighting numerous gangs before he fights his nemesis, Shin. And then the fight with Shin was awesome. And then other awesome episodes and moments include when Kenchiro chased Jackal's gang for killing Bat's mother after he defeats Fox, and Jackal kills his own gang for trying to betray him. Jackal, in one last attempt to save his life, releases a giant inhuman creature called Devil, who was executed several times and locked in prison. Jackal releases him, and in order to avoid being killed by the monster, says he's his brother, and Kenchiro and this monster have an awesome fight. One of the many times Kenchiro was actually briefly in danger, but Hakuto Senken prevailed. It was an awesome show. Then Kenchiro kills kills both. Then Kenshiro kills Jackal with a stick of his own dynamite. Forgot to mention Jackal, when he does fight, he fights with dynamite, which I thought was cool. Then Fox uses this knife Street Fighter looking move where he has a knife and where he has two knives and he spins like a loop and cuts people up. It's an awesome attack. Then getting to one of my favorite arcs. Then we later get the introduction of Ray, which was awesome. Ray does this he does this diving martial arts technique and kills two people by slicing them in half. He's the practitioner of a violent art called Nato Senkin, which pretty much can slice people in half. I love Kenshiro's meeting with him. Then one of the major arcs where Kenshiro encounters his brother, a biker thug named Joggy, who is Kenshiro's brother and who took his name and committed heinous crimes in his name. Jockey is in my opinion, one of the most awesomest and one of the most badass villains for only being here such a short time. He got enough, in my opinion, good development and got one awesome fight with Kenshiro. And I'm glad they released a manga based on his early life before he became a wasteland thug. Then of course there was the entire final arc, which is the land of Cassandra, where Kenshiro meets his last two brothers, reunites with his last two brothers, Toki, and the last major antagonist, Ryle the Conqueror. Throughout this arc, he also encounters another powerful fighter who I think is friends with Ryle, named Southerner or Souser, who fancies himself as the Celestial Emperor. Just an awesome show. Other tragic moments include Ray's death. Ray had the most badass death I've ever seen. He jumped in the air, rising at Rao, trying to slice him with his Nato Senkin, but Rao's Hakuto Shinken proved to be too powerful for him, and then Rao put a violent technique on him where he will suffer and die for 3 days before finally dying. And Ray then decides to confront his rival Juza, and then locks himself in a room and dies his final days. And then Kenshiro has several more adventures. Ryle goes around conquering several rivals to his style, and finally he meets Kenshiro in an epic battle. With Kenshiro prevailing, and Ryle dies shortly after that. Like I said, awesome show. This was part 1. I'll review Fist of the North Star 2 or Hakuto no Ken 2 later. Oh yeah, before I go, I've also seen both the English and the Japanese version. Love the Japanese version. I think it's well acted. The characters suit their voices, and for the English dub that aired in '99, for the first 35 or 50 episodes. I remember seeing the first 35 or 50 episodes here on YouTube. The English dub, in my opinion, was pretty awesome for the most part. Pretty awesome for the most part. I love the intro theme. The intro theme. It's similar to the Street Fighter V theme. I love the cinematic intro theme, and at times it's awful, but it's that so bad it's good thing. So yeah. Well, like I said, this was Fist of the North Star 1. I'll review Fist of the North Star 2 later.